WRB2ON fans, and welcome to the Anathor video in which we compile a list of the best action manhwa to read. Before we get started, if you're as lazy as I am, we'll have the same problem, because if there's one thing I don't like, it's becoming hooked on a story, but the plot is so amazing that I won't see the finish until after 200 chapters. What a lengthy procedure. So I decided to put an end to your and my misery by compiling a list of the best completed webtoons with less than 100 chapters. This will not only save you time, but also allow you to read another wonderful story the next day. And what better stories to cover than the well-known action themes, a plethora of combat sequences, and a story that will have you finishing all chapters before you've finished your cup of tea? Before I go, I'd like to remind you that it just takes a minute to show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel, since you don't want to miss out on what's next. Now, without further ado, let us get you some reading material. Starting with number 10 on the list, Burnout Shock. As an unknown material known as Burnout Shock envelopes Earth, all fire and energy are rendered inoperable, causing contemporary civilization to collapse. RAE loses his mother to the mafia lord Saken in the middle of the pandemonium. To live on his own, he swallows an experimental medication that transforms him into a strong mutant known as a subject, yet the adverse effects are gradually killing him. Now he must seek out the Lady of Fire, whose special skill can heal his condition, and go to the terrifying top zone where his path to vengeance starts. This manga is absolutely worth reading. The art is fantastic, the character development is on point, the action sequences are superb, and it is 76 chapters long, so you'll be wishing for more after you complete it. Moving to the 9th spot on the list, Uparts. There are people who possess a thing that shouldn't exist in this world, Oaparts. They reside on a frontier beyond the globe, out, where many extraordinary stories take place. The main character was a tough person until he got into a car accident. Eventually, he discovers an unknown ability that transforms him, and he discovers that his accident was an attempted murder. This tale is unusual, the art is excellent, the battle sequences are visually appealing, and the character development is slow, but well worth the wait. This website is worth a shot, which is why you've arrived. Moving to the 8th spot on the list, the Earth's Chosen Savior. The Earth has sent a warning to all of its inhabitants. The world will end in 42 days and creatures will cause a catastrophe. Jong-Yu Park, a game studio employee, is chosen by the Earth as someone who can save the globe, but first he must live in a world where people are now killing each other for power. He must also compete with other saviors in order to keep his planet-saving talents. The main character begins as a typical office worker, then becomes brutal when necessary due to his intelligence, and can swiftly assess the issue. This manhwa's interface and power system differ from those of other RPG-style manhwa. By killing anything in this manhwa, an essence orb drops, and the essence orb is comparable to an experience point in other RPGs. Moving to the 7th spot on the list, Realplay Berserker. Because of the virtual reality production item Realplay, Ripple, rank 1 pro gamer Hyunsu exits the gaming scene. Unlike his colleagues, he despises gaming and is harassed as a result, spending his days scraping by with part-time jobs. He grudgingly begins to play Ripple thanks to a buddy who pities him. With his framer's response times and Berserker's power, he becomes the center of attention. This manga is absolutely worth reading. The art is fantastic, the character development is on point, the action sequences are superb, and it is 50 chapters long, so you'll be wishing for more after you complete it. Moving to the 6th spot on the list, Once a Hero. Was he a hero in a previous life or something? That's correct. I once saved this country from catastrophe. When Jaein is abducted because of his family's tremendous debt, Unjo happens to stroll by and saves him. Life has never been the same since. The main character's life was never the same after it. He meets other youngsters his age who have diverse superpowers and have rescued their countries in previous incarnations. This manhwa's art is incredibly charming and lovely. The characters are likewise well developed, and the whole plot is well executed. Jumping to the 5th spot on the list, Night Under My Heart. Yushin Lee, a high school senior, is locked in a virtual reality-based game and is forced to battle for his life in an apparently never-ending cycle. When he enters Real Online, a dark fantasy world created by a secretive software organization with unknown purposes, what was intended to be a light respite from the stress of high school life becomes a desperate struggle for survival. This manhwa is far superior to a virtual reality manhwa. This manhwa's art is fantastic. The artist did an outstanding job of depicting the continuing conflict. The characters are very well developed, but there is a major issue with the pace of this manhwa. The speed is quite sluggish, and for some readers it can become tedious, and the loop phase when the main character dies and is reborn at the beginning becomes boring and repetitive after a while. Moving to the fourth spot on the list, our Resident Exorcist. Mild-mannered soul is a typical company owner except that his washing service, Yun, caters to devils. It is housed in the weird mixed-use Trinity residential complex where demons and humans coexist and is frequented by both dangerous demons and unpleasant customers. With a new part-time employee to train and strange new residents moving in, Seoul has more than his fair share of dirty laundry. This narrative has a blend of action, drama, horror, and fantasy, and it's ideal for anyone who doesn't want to read a long webtoon. The artwork is excellent and the characters are fully developed. If you're searching for an action narrative with demons and exorcists, don't pass this one up. Moving to the third spot on the list, High and Mighty. Yong Chansang, the Great House Yonchan's youthful lord, is a free spirit who loves to travel. When his father attempts to marry him off to the most beautiful woman in the Bukkyong region, he refuses and steals the presents from the carriage, delivering his bride's bridal presents. He is unaware that the presents contain an object that holds the key to reviving the demonic cult. I wasn't expecting much from it at first, but wow, was I shocked. At first it appears that the main character is an idiot for fleeing his home, but when it is revealed that his house was full of people who wanted him dead, you will understand why he fled. The main character is quick to learn and read his surroundings. He is a little reserved. The Muram world building and art, which are accomplished admirably, are the highlights of this manhwa. Moving to the second spot on the list, Court of Puppets. Detective Wu Jin-seo lives in a time when criminals can be prosecuted by technology. In response to Wu Jin's deadly rage and preoccupation with taking down the cartels, his superiors throw him on disciplinary probation and begin to rely on the robots to carry out justice. But he is given the option to be reinstated as an educational navigator to Magnum, a military-grade android dubbed COP or Court of Puppets. Can this odd combination be able to overcome the sinister underbelly of this neon city? You can only read to find out. This is an adult action thriller, and if you enjoy mystery and science fiction, you should certainly check it out. The art is excellent and the world building is superb. The characters are also nicely developed, and the narrative as a whole is skillfully performed. It's 44 chapters long, so you'll be done before your cup of coffee runs out, so enjoy. Reaching the first spot on the list, Wind Spirit. To survive, he battled like a beast, and they survived. A task force that lives and dies on the mission. You are fortunate to have survived this assignment, but there is no assurance that you will survive your next mission. If they do not return from this assignment, they may be considered deserters and end up as crow food in an obscure valley. The incredible odor of blood. The shriek of Abigail. I want to shrug it all off and become a wind. I wish to turn into a wind and travel the world freely. I wish to live alone, but not lonely, invisible yet all-encompassing, saying many things but not speaking of one's ideas. This manhwa is more akin to watching a Korean drama with fights. The art in this manhwa is fantastic, and it does a wonderful job of depicting a Muram world to the audience. The plot is packed with drama and action. Next read on this list, then give us a thumbs up and share the video with your friends. Also give us your suggestions in the comment section below, since it helps us to give you more recommendations and present to you a better content every time. And remember to press the red button for more videos in the near future. Thank you for your time. We'll talk again soon.